Hello! Welcome to The Healing Artist. I'm your host, Frida, and friends, I have such a treat for you today. We are joined by Silvia Mioc, and she is a Chinese metaphysics consultant, a physicist turned metaphysicist. Sylvia integrates Chinese astrology, Feng Shui, Qi Men Dun Jia, and date selection to help individuals and entrepreneurs transform their lives for better health success by navigating change with clarity and confidence. Sylvia, welcome to The Healing Artist.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
So, I have had the pleasure of visiting with Sylvia on several of your lectures. You are a fantastic speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I am really honored that you said yes to joining us because I wanted to share you with the listeners because this is very new to me, Chinese astrology and feng shui. And I think it's something that everybody should know about.
Thank you. And this is really the challenge in the West. People don't know about it. So I have to make a lot of education. So I present a lot of, these concepts are completely new. They're very well established in Asia, mostly not in China, but in Malaysia, Singapore. That's where all my teachers came from.
Yeah. Give us a little background on going from being a physicist to a metaphysicist.
Yes. Well, first, I'd like to say that it's not such a big jump as one may think. Chinese metaphysics is very similar to physics in that it looks to see how the world works, but more than what physics does, it's actually looking to see how we fit in it. So they have this very basic concept that as above, so below. So they consider the world a macrocosm with nature and
Mhm.
everything. And then we are a microcosm. And the same laws that apply and we can observe in nature, they consider that they apply in us. So this is just, I want to put things in perspective. In terms of your question, I was a physicist. I was in an academic environment and I burned out. And then I decided to quit because health is very important. I didn't have the right yin yang balance, right? That's what
Yes.
happened. I burned out because I had too much yang. And then to make it short, I started, of course, with what's most common, which is yoga. And then Ayurveda. I spent a couple of years exploring that and getting really deep because I quit my job. So I had all this time and then all my research experience to really deep dive into it. And then serendipitously, I came across Qigong,
Hmm.
which works. It's basically a physical practice similar to yoga, but very different. I don't want to go into the details right now. And I think people probably know much more about Tai Chi. Qigong is the mother of Tai Chi. Tai
Okay.
Chi is the martial art form of Qigong, and it's a series of prescribed motions and practices that you do, and they're very, amazingly how well they work. They all activate the meridians and the acupuncture points, but it's very prescribed. So you either do a 13 form Tai Chi or up to 108, and you practice the same thing, and it's a very holistic approach. Now, Qigong, on the other hand, it's like a toolbox of, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 different moves, and you can pick and choose and do what you want. And that's what I do in my Qigong. And
Mm.
I align it with the energies of the year. But anyway, I got distracted. This is about Qigong, but Qigong then got me to Chinese astrology. And I was amazed when I learned, because you can look back and see what happens to your life, just like you can look forward. That's what I do today. I'm doing kind of forecasting, advising people on that. And I was really stunned how it explained my life.
Hmm.
And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I was so fascinated. So I started taking classes in
Mm.
in Chinese astrology. And then from there, you get exposed to all the arts. And I've studied, Feng Shui and Qi Men Dun Jia and date selection and, other things as well.
So, as you were going through this and learning it, do you turn to books to do your learning, or is this sort of internalized that you just sort of ended up memorizing
It's my teachers. So it's
Mhm.
and it was really, the pandemic was amazing for me because all of a sudden, even people that didn't offer things online. Like this is especially because I've also studied a lot of Chinese medicine on
Hmm.
my own. I'm not certified or anything, but I add that very explicitly in my Qigong classes. And I had the amazing opportunity to take classes that there's no way I could have taken if it wasn't for the pandemic, when people were offering them, especially in the beginning, for very low price.
Hmm.
And plus, it was the access. There's no way I could have gone to so many classes if I had to travel and get the, like lodging and everything. It would be prohibitively expensive. Whereas like this, so I was like, for me, the pandemic was amazing. And, with my research background, I just delved very deeply and I'm very good at recognizing patterns. So it was not really, I mean, of course, I read some books, right?
Hmm.
But the most of it was actually taking classes online and then having discussions with people that were more experienced than me, and then really embodying it. I really, I mean, I live my life with this. So
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. So, if you were going to share with us here in primarily America, if you were going to be like, this is what I want you to know about Chinese astrology and working in this world, what would you share?
well, I can say that everybody, first of all, uh, so what's known about Chinese astrology in America is that you have one animal that
Yes.
represents, right? Because you go to a Chinese restaurant and you see the placemat and they tell you, and okay, that's all. So you actually have four animals. You have one for the year, one for the month, one for the day, and one for the hour. And the year animal is really just like how you behave and how you appear and what happens to you in your most external social circle. If you are to look at the forecast somewhere online, for every month or something like that, you should really look up the animal that you have in your day, because what you have in the day and the hour, that's your internal self, and then what you have in the month and the year is your external self. So the month is especially relevant to work. And on my website, you can actually get your free complete Chinese astrology chart. And also what comes on top of it, so if you do go and you get it, you'll have a fifth animal, so to speak, is that Chinese astrology also is very prescriptive in terms of the dynamics of your life, because every 10 years you have new energies that are your energies. And so when you do a Chinese astrology analysis, you look at the four animals, and they're called pillars because each animal comes with another,
Hmm.
with an element, and you actually look at all five, because that's where you are now. It includes your luck pillar, and that's actually very important, because I'm sure that everybody has found in their situations like, man, I've been doing the same thing, it worked so great, and all of a sudden it stopped working.
Yes.
Or the other way around, like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'm so lucky, and then you think, oh, I'm so good, and you think that's going to go forever. And actually what happens is, most likely you've actually crossed into a different decade, and decades can bring more challenges or can bring more opportunities. And what Chinese astrology can do is basically tell you, and then you can prepare. You have this knowledge ahead of time, just like the weather forecast tells you, oh, do I need to get an umbrella, how do I dress, right? So this at least eliminates the surprise element. And more than that, then integrating it with all the other arts, there are actually very specific things that are recommended. So it's not like it's telling you, oh, there's going to be some doom coming your way. It's telling you, okay, you're going to have a significant challenge, and here's what you can do to prepare for it. So it's very prescriptive, and Feng Shui actually plays a big role.
Could you say more?
So the another fundamental concept of Chinese metaphysics is this concept of our life is influenced by three types of luck. We have the heaven luck, which is associated with like your destiny and your faith, and has to do with Chinese astrology. And then you have the human luck, which is what you do, decisions and actions that you take. And you think about it, right? This is basically your actions determine what happens in your life, and your actions are result of decisions, right? And Chinese metaphysics can help you make better decisions.
I
And a
see.
big part of it is to tap into the third type of luck, which is the earth luck, which is your environment. And one thing that I found so inspiring is that they have a very prescriptive and quantitative answer to what probably many people have asked, like, oh, how much is faith, how much is my destiny, and how much is free will, right? So they say that actually 2/3 of your life is your free will, because you obviously your actions, nobody disputes that, but you can actually change your environment. And Feng Shui is giving you specific ways in which you change it in order to tap this luck that comes from the earth.
Yeah, that was really wonderful. So, friends, I had the joy of listening to a lecture that you gave. It was yesterday, and that was a sort of feng shui basics on
Yeah.
and learning about the four. So, I get the compass, the four sides of feng shui. Would you speak a little bit more about that? It was just really
So
interesting.
yeah, so Feng Shui, the talk that I had yesterday was about one of the main schools of Feng Shui, which has to do with forms. But there
Yes.
is another school which is actually much more prevalent, which is that has to do with the compass. So basically, we're talking about our life being influenced by the energies around us,
Hmm.
and they give a name to this energy, which is Qi, or maybe if you're familiar with the Indian system, that's the prana. It's
Yes.
a life force. It's basically, and how is that defined? You have a Chinese character that describes it. So it's kind of depends on what translation you do, but generally it's energy, or it's the life force that penetrates everything around us, all living being, and it's basically all around, but it's very intangible, right? You cannot see it, you cannot smell it, you cannot touch it. And then how do you detect it? In order to tap into it, you need to know where it is, right? If you want it to help you, you want it to grab you, you need to know where the positive energy is, and then what to do to get it. So the question is, what is your detector, right? And I love this analogy, because if you think about something very similar to Qi is your Wi-Fi signal, right? It's all around us. It gets absorbed by certain things. It gets blocked, right? It's inside us. It's outside us, and similar to Qi. And then you detect the Wi-Fi signal with your phone or with your laptop. You have that kind of, so you have an intermediary, right?
Hmm.
So the phone school is using as a detector your eyes.
Right. You're
And
gonna.
there's
Okay.
very, ancient descriptions of how Qi flows, where it gathers, and then how to gather it, how to harness it.
Yeah.
And then other kind of detector is actually a compass, and we're looking at the uh, magnetic directions, not the map direction. So that's something very important. The maps are all about true north, and the compass is all about the magnetic north. And depending where you are, there's actually a difference, and the difference can be big or it can be small.
Oh,
So anyway, so I was talking mostly about the form school,
yeah.
which I only, because of course there's form school on the outside and on the inside. I mean, interior and exterior, and it's a very complex subject, as you can imagine. So I talked mostly about the interior part, which is the most accessible thing that people can do. Usually, it's very difficult to change your landscape, your environment, unless you move, right? So
Yeah.
this is a kind of energy that is very long lasting. So it influences you for a very long time. The Compass School has different. So the question is, okay, I'm tapping this good chi. How long does it take for me to see the results?
Oh, that's a
Right?
great question. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's another classification that you can do, and it's be short term, long term, or evergreen, which is the that kind of forever last generations, right?
Hmm.
So usually when you actually do a Feng Shui assessment, you do a combination between the short term, because we really want results within a year. That's short term is within a year, long term is 20 years, and evergreen is whatever generations, right? So, but
Yeah.
if you want to buy a house, and you look where to buy it, 1 year does nothing for you. You really want something longer, right? So there are different different techniques that you use, and you always use more than just one.
What is one of the biggest ways that this has influenced your life since learning about it? Like how have you restructured your life since learning
The
these
biggest influence
systems?
is the fact that I started my company.
Okay.
That is the biggest thing. So before, my whole life I was employed, right, in different venues and everything. And then I decided, no, this is it. And it's changed my life, because I'm just I'm embodying it, and it's added much more insight in what's happening. I'm much more aware about my environment. Feng Shui, of course, makes you see things around you very differently, and then I have to make sure, because I tend to, tell people a lot of things, and I'm just like restraining. It's like, no, you want to know, you ask, right? So I'm not kind of just spreading this information. But yeah, I do so Chinese metaphysics overall, date selection is very important. So I do certain, and also for feng shui, and for having meetings and important things, important events in your life, milestones, is very important to pick a good day, or at least avoid a bad day. So I'm always looking into that. Like today is a
So
good day. That's why
interesting.
we're having the
Yes. And then also with the release date, you were going to say when you wanted it to be released,
yes,
you're going to look ahead
yes,
and be like, no, this is a good date. And I think
yeah,
that's awesome. Like, I love that idea.
yeah.
Hmm. There's so much learning here, but something I've really noticed in your speaking is you give a great PowerPoint. Got a great slide deck, but you are making it very accessible in the
I
way
think
you're sharing.
Yeah, that's very important, and that's where my technical background and my prior work is all. I'm using everything that I've done in my work, and just I'm applying it to my own business, because I was doing business development, and a lot of marketing, some websites. So now all of that I can use. And doing presentations, I gave you a lot of talks at conferences and everything else. So you always want to make it as accessible. So I'm glad that it sounds like I've succeeded. It's hard to tell, because when you know so much, and you can easily get into lingo or something like that. So I'm actually making a big effort to make sure that things are like as simple as possible.
Oh, no, you're a wonderful teacher. It's very grounded and accessible.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
But I imagine you have to know a great deal to break it down to be that simplified.
It's always like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you like to share?
What would I like to share?
Mhm.
That's a good question. Well, let me think about it. Um, what I'd like to share, one thing and the bigger thing, and then I'm going to think about something very practical to share with the listeners. But what I like to share as the framework is that everything, all the different arts, they fit in like a giant puzzle. And this is it's so fascinating, so Chinese metaphysics is split into 5 arts, and you have the art of energy cultivation, which includes martial arts and qigong, and then you have the art of healing, which includes Chinese medicine and also qigong, because qigong actually is a healing art. And then you have the art of fate, which is Chinese astrology of different kinds. The one that I practice is BaZi, or the 8 characters. And then there's another one, Zivei Doshu, which I'm also using, and sometimes I'm adding parts of it, but that's not my primary focus. And then we have the art of divination, which is I Ching, which I think a lot of people may have heard about, the Book of Changes and the hexagrams.
Yeah.
And so that's you have a dilemma, and you're asking, okay, what should I do? And then you go, it's like an oracle, you go to the I Ching, and usually the way it's done is that you have a I Ching set of cards, and you pick some
Mhm.
card, and then you read the description, and there is a changing line. And anyway, so you get that kind of information. But the I Ching is very philosophical, and it gives you some very complicated answer to whatever you are. I mean, the description for every card is complicated, and it's kind of, how does this relate to my question exactly, and you have to sit and meditate on it, and then the ideas come. But one thing that they say is that I Ching gives you what you really need, not necessarily what you asked for. So
For
you may
sure.
ask about one thing, but you're focusing on the wrong thing. Hey, it shakes you up, right? This is what you need. And then the other piece, which I do I Ching as well, but I do mostly, I think this is much more practical, this Qi Men Dun Jia art, which almost nobody knows in the West. It's system that gives you, it's also an oracle. You ask a question about this, and the questions you can ask are very practical. Is it, oh, should I do A or should I do B? Or if I do this, then what's the outcome? Is it good for me? So things very concrete, and it really gives you very practical advice in what you should do. And so that's one of the things that I'm just launching. And then you have the art of physiognomy, which is reading shapes. And that's where
Mm.
Feng Shui comes in. Feng Shui
Yeah.
is reading the shapes in the environment, but you also have the shapes on the face,
Hmm.
and which is face reading. And then you have the palm reading, which is the forms on your palm. So these are the big five um, arts, five categories of Chinese metaphysics, and all of them come down to yin and yang and five elements. And the five elements in the Chinese system are different than the one in the Indian system that most people are more familiar with. So they are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water.
Hmm.
So as you see, these are very grounded. They all belong to the earth, right? So they're
Hmm.
very practical things. The Indian system has air and ether
Yeah.
instead of wood and metal, right? And so it's a very different system, right? So this is all very grounded, and then that's why you have, so basically these five elements, which are five energies, they manifest in yin and yang form. So you have 10 fundamental energies. And then the animals that we all know are really not animals. And some people say, "Oh, I'm a rat. I don't like rat. I don't like that." Or, "Oh, I'm a rabbit. That's so cute and I like that." And that's not that at all. It's really, the animals are just a label for a collection of these fundamental energies. So they
Right.
can have a combination, either one, so the minimum is one, or up to three. That's what each animal represents. And when you analyze a chart, it's really the interaction of all these energies. And then you have so these energies are, supporting each other, or they're, controlling each other. For instance, if you think about it, water puts out fire, right? And metal cuts wood, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, water feeds wood,
Hmm.
and wood feeds fire, right? So these are the fundamental, the controlling and the supporting relationships between these elements is what determines everything, according to Chinese metaphysics, everything that's happening to us. When you go to a Chinese medicine, that you go to acupuncture, they're also looking in terms of those where your imbalance is, and then
So,
they're addressing that.
so learning these structures and systems aid and assist in sort of like just general life navigation, just with the push and pull of how we're each structured. And
Yes,
I
exactly.
imagine we each have a bit of a push and pull because that's the fun. That's the juice of life, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, very interestingly, so most people have all five energies present in their natal chart, which is really that when you're born, you pick up exactly the energy of the moment of your birth.
Yes.
And most people have all five energies, but sometimes some people have only as few as three energies, right? So this actually manifests, especially for health. You want to have as balanced of a life as possible. And this manifests, your astrology chart tells you what are your predisposition towards certain illnesses. And that's where Qigong comes in. And it can address specific movements to balance your energy, because health is all about balancing energy. And on the other hand, for an interesting life, nobody has a balanced a chart that's balanced with all these elements. And for an interesting life, you don't necessarily want that either, because then it's boring. Everything is, nothing moves. But then the interesting thing is that you have what you do, every actions and everything you do is a sign. Every industry, like what you work, your work, for instance, has a certain energy depending on what the company that you're working with, what's their domain. And then this is another way in which you can kind of balance your energies. If you take on and you take a job in an area that is not your primary energy, that so it's very, very interesting. It's really, I think Chinese astrology is fantastic, especially for young children, because it can tell you what your talents are and what's the most the most rewarding careers for you are. And it's really can, because when you're young, you have so many doors open, and you can go in any direction, right? And there are some kids that know exactly what they want, but I think that's a minority. Most people are like, and especially if there's a kid that kind of is good for at many different things, or like not really, because maybe they didn't discover their talent. A very untapped talent is that of public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
I've had many clients that I tell them, your talent, take advantage of this, because you really have an innate talent for public speaking. It's like me, I hate public speaking. I don't, and so if you've grown up in an environment where the parents told me, oh, you shouldn't speak up, you should just be modest, and then it's, of course, that's not, it's like a seed that if you don't nourish it and water it, it doesn't grow, right? So like this is the most common example, public speaking that people have. And public speaking means you're good in sales, you like to be in the center of attention, you're comfortable with crowds, you're attracting attention, right? And a lot of people are taught, no, you should be modest, you shouldn't attract attention on yourself, and
Yeah.
then that never gets developed, and on the opposite side, you can actually develop even talents that you don't have, but it's much easier to do it when the decade comes that supports that talent, because as the decades come, they come with different energies, and then you may get an energy that was not present at your birth, but now it's there for you and it's yours, and if you really activate it, then it stays with you for your whole life.
That's really cool.
Very
So,
cool.
so during the pandemic, when you were learning and you were going back and checking in on your own life, were you able to see those different energies and how they were activated throughout?
Completely. Like I had this great decade where I was making lots of money and I was visible and everything else. And I thought that, oh, I'm so good, it's going to last forever. No, it didn't, And yeah, so I was, that's what was so fascinating. It's like, oh, had I known that this is only temporary and I should take advantage, I should do more savings as opposed to spending it all, because I thought that I'm so good, So
Interesting. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. There's so much food for thought here. So if you were like, what would you start with if folks want to investigate? What would you start with? Where is a good place to start with all this?
Um, I think a good start to understanding is on my social media, actually.
Ooh, say more.
I only started it in August, really
Mhm.
very, I was not a social media person, so that took a lot of, I knew that I have to be also, because this is the time from Chinese astrology and from Feng Shui, from Chinese metaphysics. I know that social media is very important for success for the next 20 years. So then, of
For
course,
everybody or for you?
everybody,
Interesting.
anything that has to do with technology. You see how fast things are moving. I'll
Yeah.
get to that a little later, because I was you actually asked me what I want to share, and I think that's actually a very good practical thing to share. But so in my social, I started my social media, and I have some things that are kind of fundamentals of Chinese metaphysics. I think the best I'm doing YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. But the best, I mean, the most organized, and I at least, probably due to my age, I find YouTube it's to be much more easily accessible because it's very organized and you see the playlists and everything else. And I'm planning to add more. As a matter of fact, I will add the Feng Shui talk to my YouTube channel, and also the forecast for the 2026 Fire Horse talk that I gave in February.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there yet, but I will put those up. So those are, I think, very good practical. I mean, that's a good because I'm starting with fundamentals of Chinese metaphysics because I think that's very important, and then I'm going into fundamentals of either astrology or Feng Shui.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a great place to start. And then, so this, in terms of practical, something that people should know, insights from Chinese metaphysics, is that the next actually 18 years, not 20 years, we are in a fire period that that comes from the earth lock, from the earth plate, right? And then this year and next year, this year is Fire Horse, and next year is Fire Goat. Their fire energy that comes from the heaven, right? From the heaven lock. And this is something, so, okay, the period for all the heaven energies is 60 years because we have 5 elements and 12 animals, right? So they couple with each other. So
Right.
the period 12 times 5 is 60. But on the earth plate, earth is always much slower. So we have periods of 20 years. So that means that the full, like one energy lasts 20 years. That's what I wanted to say. So that means that then we have 9 energies on the earth plate. And that means that 180 years is the period for the earth. So this kind of a combination of fire from above, fire from below, has not happened since 108 years ago, which was about the period of the Industrial Revolution. And the characteristics for it, and people, it's going to be, so both these years are going to be very volatile and not easy for anybody, no matter if you need fire or you don't need fire, because it's just too much, right? If you have fire, fire is the only element out of the 5 that can affect all the other 4 because it can melt metal, it can dry up water, it can, of course, burns the wood, and it can dry out, scorch the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the kind of fire that we have these 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that means volatility, crisis, and you see wars, instabilities. We've already seen that, and it came. So this fire energy started actually in 2024 from the earth plate, and it was gradual. But even last year was also a combination of wood and fire. We had a wood snake, so that also the wood feeds the fire. So it was also pretty fiery year, right? So, and before that we had a wood dragon. That's when the originally it started. So that was kind of the mixture, but we had the wood there as well. So anyway, what I'm saying is that people should expect, what I want to say is that some kind of a spiritual practice is non-negotiable in these years, at least, actually for the next 20 years. But these 2 years, and this year especially, you have to get some distance and become more observant of what's happening around you, because the tendency is, if you don't consciously cultivate whatever it is, if it's yoga or meditation or whatever fits you, the most important thing is to do something.
Yes.
Right? Because otherwise, it's the likelihood is very high that you're gonna be very unsettled and things are not gonna go very well for you.
And
you're not gonna
out.
be able. I'm sorry.
That's spinning out. That out of
And
control.
so, that's right. So that's why these prescriptions from Chinese metaphysics, they don't create money or peace or love out of nowhere, but can help you be more clear with what you
Hmm.
want, how to go about it. And clarity is really important because, as we talked before, it's your decisions that influence your actions, which really lead to the quality of your life. So if you're much more clear with what you want, you're in a much better situation. And you cannot get clarity except if you do some kind of a cultivation. That's my opinion, of course.
I agree with you. I teach grounding meditation and as a daily practice that people need to get grounded every day. I mean, because we do. Like without that, that's
Yep.
how you sit in the seat of yourself and you can hear yourself. Like because otherwise it's just chaos.
Yeah. And then talking about that, Qi Men Dun Jia is a very powerful art that also gives you a protocol, how to meditate. It gives you like the direction and the energy that it's specific to you, that came to you from birth, that you're more connected to, so you can tap into that. And then on the other hand, the combination of all the stuff, it tells you which are the days that are most um, supportive of what, depending on what your desire is. Like if you want to manifest, right? We talk about the West about affirmations and everything as well. There's certain times and days that also come from Qi Men Dun Jia, where depending on what you want to manifest, uh, the direction and the time is very important to help you do the manifestation. Now, this is different than the grounding piece, right? The
Yeah.
grounding piece, the more you do it, the better you do it. And I tell people, do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night. The most important thing is to get to do a daily practice, right?
Mhm.
But this is about if you want to manifest something,
Yeah, very
you know.
cool. I'm gonna have to look and that was on your list of things that you're offering right now. So is that on your website?
Yeah, it's not on my website. Yes, I just put those. I have 3 new things that are coming up, and I'll probably within 2 weeks I'll have them on my website. But people can just contact me uh, directly, and it's one is this Feng Shui, like the form Feng Shui,
Mhm.
that includes internal and external, and everything that I do is on Zoom. So we can actually, I don't have to come to your house. We can just, you can take your phone and show me things around, and then I can make recommendations. And then I have activation dates for specific, like for 3 things. So the program gives you 3 different dates that you can activate wealth, so wealth opportunities, financial opportunities, getting support and help from people in general, and relationships, right? So that's another service that it's not on my website yet. And then I have the Qi Men Dun Jia forecast, which is this answering a dilemma. If you want to do something, do I do A or B? Or, if I do this, will it be beneficial to me? And that the answer that I'm giving you is not only, oh, yes or no, I'm giving you kind of what is the environment that's going to be associated with that, and how, so I'm telling you, oh, maybe no, it's not so auspicious because of this and this and this. I see the energies are very negative, or are very, very um, aggressive. And if you're
Mhm.
fine with an aggressive environment, that's by all means, because it can have some good results. Or I can tell you no, because sometimes you're asking, oh, will this happen? I tell you no, it won't happen. And I tell you why. It seems like these are the things that are going on. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Fascinating. This is so interesting. So then one last little piece here. You did mention that social media you think is important for the next year, 18 years?
Yes, absolutely. So anything that has to, thank you for bringing me back to that.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm curious.
anything that has to do um, with technology,
Hmm.
fire technology is a fire. It has the fire element in it. Social media, communications, that's all in the pool of things that are happening
I'm
right
so
now.
I'm so curious because like the last 2.5 years, I went and like cultivated an Instagram account and I had like over 450 reels. And then at the beginning of this year, I really sank into it and I was like, this does not make me feel good about myself. I read a book called The Chaos Machine and I was like, I am done with meta products and social media and just went and like deleted everything. And I left a little bit behind because in my couple of my books, I refer to the social media platform. There's like a QR code to go to it. So I left like 9 things up. But otherwise, I just deleted all of it because I was like, this is not in alignment anymore. So now I'm curious if I should I don't like the word should, but I'm curious actually if it's something that I should think about a way to show up on social media that is not detrimental to my health, because I just don't think that it made me feel good about myself.
Yeah, well, I think that's the most important thing, right? These are very general,
Hmm.
they're very general things because in this kind of a situation, we can only talk about general things. So
Sure.
if you feel that it's not good for you, then don't do it. I always tell people, even in my Qigong classes and everything, this is what I'm telling you. And it's okay to push your comfort limits for a little bit, but don't push it too much, right? And
Yeah.
the same everywhere. Like I can give you, I do these personalized guides, for 2026, that
Hmm.
I give insights to in every month, and I'm seeing what the energies are and what they support and what not support, and I always stress it out. It's like, okay, if this is not relevant to you, then don't feel like you need to do it,
Hmm.
right? Like some people that are very happy in their job and everything is going fine. I'm telling you, okay, this month is likely that you have a huge change in your job, and it's like, yes, it can come from the outside, but it's also a good time if you want to change jobs, then it's a good time to go out and network and whatnot. But if it's not relevant to you,
Right.
it doesn't matter, then don't do it. So don't do something just because I said that you should do it. So the same with social media.
Right. So take what resonates and leave the rest.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
there is something there. I think that it's just sort of like understanding maybe there's a maybe within the next 18 years or so there'll be a different platform or that something will shift
Yeah, for
that
sure.
does feel a
For
little bit
sure,
more
for sure.
resonant.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I must say that I resonate with you because putting out social media things, it really takes a lot of effort. And I've been struggling with that, especially, but I'm doing it right now. And it's actually, I find it like a personal challenge, and it lets me push my comfort limit because I'm in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And putting these longer, like giving these talks, and like I'm going to put the Feng Shui talk up, and the Chinese astrology talk, I'm going to put them up. That's actually very nice, and I'm very happy to do that.
Hmm.
It's this little like, oh, you have to do less than 1 minute little clips because there's no attention span, and it takes so much effort. And
Yes.
I'm wondering, like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? But I'm going to continue to do it for a while because I just started, and then we'll see. At some point, maybe I'll do exactly like you did, and
Yeah.
say,
It did
you know,
serve a great purpose though,
yeah,
because I am a person who is extremely spontaneous. And it helped me show up for 450 reels, mostly usually without makeup. In the moment, got me used to public speaking more. It got me used to
yeah,
looking at my own face and hearing my own voice. And that was incredibly helpful because it helps me just show up in the world as myself in my authenticity without worrying about that sort of stuff. So it served a fantastic purpose for a
yeah.
period of time. And then it sort of shifted and I was just like, oh, I can feel that energy shift. I don't want to
Yeah,
be here.
no, absolutely. I congratulate you for listening to your body. That's the most important thing, right? And the more, like, all the spiritual cultivation helps us develop our intuition. And then I think a lot of people have to take a leap of faith to just trusting their intuition. I certainly had to do a big leap of faith, especially being trained as a scientist,
Mhm.
where, logic is everything. And then I just took a chance and said, no, I think I'm going to follow my intuition. And it never let me down.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing today, Sylvia. This has been just such a treat. And friends, I would really highly encourage, we're going to have all of Sylvia's information in the show notes, but I would love for you to go check out her YouTube channel and see some of these talks that she's given. Because, yeah, I just think you're a fantastic teacher. So engaging.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'd be very, very, very happy. And I'm very I'm very open, for questions. I actually have on my website, you can book a 20-minute chat to just understand how I work and everything else. I'm very accessible, and I'm always following up, and getting feedback and everything else. I'm very happy to, I really want to help people. I found my life calling. I was so happy. I was so lucky, I should say. My whole life, I loved all the jobs I had. I never went to work, kind of dreading it. Well, not a lot of times. I mean, sometimes there's things, but overall, right? I loved every single job that I had, and I changed so much. I was in research, and I went in business development, and I was in medical devices, and in lighting, and in display. So, but this is different. I found my life calling to help people and spread the light of Chinese metaphysics, and because it's so powerful. It's humbling, really.
Yeah. Oh, Sylvia, thank you so much for sharing. It has been an honor.
Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform and spread the word, because that's so aligned with what I want to do.
Oh, I wanted to tell you that I love you. God,
I love you
universe,
too.
source. Oh, thank you. God, universe, source loves you. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. And all the listeners as well.